How to create amazing ring effects using the procedural texture filter in Affinity Photo. Now you can do this in the layer menu as well as the filters menu. First thing to do, layer menu and new layer. So you need a new layer to work with. Go to the flood fill tool over in the tools panel. Flood fill with black. Now for the start of this video, I'm going to show you the filters menu version. But I'm going to mainly use the layer menu one a little bit later. So filters, colors and procedural texture. Now there's a whole range of different filters already available. There's a variety of ones just there that I've created, also ones that come with Affinity Photo. To start with a completely fresh one, just go to that little plus there. Add equation, and now that will be for the red channel. You can resize the panel at any point. And I'm going to paste the equation in. I'm going to put that in the description so you can check it out. So obviously you don't have to copy that. And now you can make a whole variety of different changes to this. I've got Rx times Rx, Ry times Ry, and that's to create the ring with the square root. The sine creates lovely variations in the circles or elliptical effects. Now I've got a number of custom inputs in there. You can see A, B, C, D, etc. Now I'm going to have to create those custom inputs. You can do that in the bottom half of the panel. Now I'm only just doing it with red there, but what you can do, you can create exactly the same equation with all those brackets for the green and the blue to make it a monochrome. Just click the plus there to add additional equations. But first I'm going to go with, see you've got red there. To add those A, B, C, D, etc. And you don't have to use A, B, C, D. You can use A1, F1, whatever. A variety of different names, maybe more descriptive names. But just click the R just there, down at the bottom. Click that to 6 times to get A, B, C, D, E and F. So you've got the entire, all the custom inputs for that equation. Now, annoyingly, the default is always 0. Personally, I wish it was 1, because most cases 1 is more useful than 0. But I guess if you're using things where you're adding things, then see 0 might be more useful. That's probably the reasoning. So just change values. At this point, you probably can see nothing on the screen. There is actually a slight change on the screen. There's a slight redness. You can just see redness appearing. I can anyway. Maybe you can't. Increase the values. Obviously, when they start out at 1, 2, 3, you can go up and down between 0 and 100. But you can also enter like 200 into the value as well. You can't do the opposite. You can't go minus 200, unfortunately. You can only go, I'm not certain why real numbers can't be minus, but you can't go below 0. Of course, I might stand corrected there. You might be able to enter minus 200. Let's try that. Anyway, so you can see now, you can see something on the screen when you vary the values. Now, the ones for the bottom, the E and the F, are great for the elliptical or circle. So E and F are the same, you'll end up with a circle. Vary them, you will end up with ellipse. Now D is useful for just a dividing. So just change the D value. D1 is probably the most useful of all of them, even though it doesn't look like it. So you can just vary that. Keep that fairly low, up and down between that. You can you go too low, it will disappear. But now what you can do, you can also vary the A and B. And you may probably works best setting the A, B and C and D a lot higher values. Now I've got in the equation 10 times. Now you can of course vary that. You can make that a custom input as well. So instead of using 10 times A, you could actually make an overall master multiplier. So you can maybe make that G and then have G set to 10 by default and then make it 8, 9, 7, whatever, and go, and that will vary the design again and again and again. So you can see enter 70. So at higher values, you can start seeing those rings now. And of course, you can extend this in further. I've got just sine bracket, blah, 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 sine bracket, blah, blah, blah. But you could, of course, create a sine, maybe 6 or 7 layers of sine. Plus, you could also make an equation with all that and then copy it all and then plus and then all of that. Maybe make some variations within those Rx and Ry. Maybe Rx or maybe Rx times 10 or something, or minus. A variety of different things can be changed in there. You can see a whole variety of different ring designs using this. And at the moment, you can see what I'm doing. I've only got it for the red channel, which is not very effective. If you want it for the entire RGB, you could also make it for the alpha as well. You can see at the end, there's an alpha as well, which is quite useful. So just copy and paste that equation now into the... Now I could change the custom inputs to be different ones for the red, green, blue, so they could all vary individually. Could do that. Then you'd have a lot more custom inputs, which is fine. I don't know if there's a limit. And you could, of course, make variations in each of those equations. So Rx again times Rx, maybe minus instead of plus. But the key thing is A, B, C, D, E, and F for custom inputs. But as you vary them, you'll see it's just a standard monochrome. Say, if you change the values, maybe instead of using 10 for the multiplier, for the green channel, you could use 8 or 9 to create slight, subtle colour changes. A great feature of these equations, you can use Rx and Ry. That's relative X and relative Y. You can use that to change the position of the effect, to move that origin point. Now, I've done all this work with this, so I don't want to lose it. I've got these presets. What I want to do is create a preset. I want to store it away. More often than not, I actually start from the filter menu. For some weird reason, I always start filter menu. But you could also do the same in the layer. I'm just going to call this Ring 2 and set it category. And because it's monochrome, I'm just going to go put it in the monochrome patterns. And I've got quite a lot of colour patterns, so click create, not cancel. And now it's saved. And you can, at this point, just click apply or cancel. And there it is, applied to that layer. But what if you want to have something that you can modify later, all the time? And that's the key thing with the live filter layers. Now, I could have an image here. Obviously, I've just got black. It doesn't have to be. It could be an image or it could be anything else. It could be multiple layers as well, not just one layer. But go to the layer menu and new live filter layer, colors, and procedural texture. And you get exactly, near enough, the same panel. The only difference is really is the bottom bit with opacity and blending modes. Now, because I've created that preset, it means I can just quickly go and find it. You see a variety of presets there. Just go down to select it, rings. Otherwise, I'd have to recreate it again. So there's the same effect. And of course, I can go and vary the values of A, B, C, D, etc. if I wish. But also, I've got blending modes. Now, with this, it's not particularly any of use, but I'm going to create additional effects. So I've got the layers panel. The layers panel, you can now, procedural texture, what you can do, you can go and create another one. You can go to the layer menu and create another. Or you could use duplicate it, of course. You could just duplicate the effect. That's another option. Layer menu and new live filter layer. Colors and procedural texture. Sadly, it starts out completely fresh, so you have to again go to the presets to bring up the preset Ring 2, or whatever you have called it. I have a lot of presets. I have to scroll through the entire list. A last used preset would be really nice. You've now created a new live filter layer using the default settings. But the thing is, with the RX and RY, you can move it, you can reposition it. You can also change the values. But of course, at the moment, because its blending mode is normal, all you're seeing is that effect. A wide variety of blending modes exist. Lighten, darken, exclusion, difference. Some work better than others. Something like that, lighten. So you can create some very interesting sort of ring effects. And again, you can move them around. You can change the values. And again, even better if you split the colours, the A, B, C, D, into colours for red, green and blue. You could make a colour version of this. But in this case, it's just purely. But of course, you can always cancel the equation. So if you just want it, say, for red, you could just get rid of the green and the blue. That doesn't modify the preset. The preset is still stored. All you're modifying is the actual current equation. But you've got the blending mode, you can change the opacity as well. And you could, of course, tweak the 10, maybe make those 8, 9, etc. So now you've got 2. Now it puts it on top of thing, but you can drag it down so you can put it. So now it's only associated with that above pixel layer. You can always rename the live filter layer, maybe call it 1, 2, 3 or something else. The order of the live filter layers slightly odd. The first entry is the bottom entry. So the second, third, fourth, fifth, etc., they're higher up. So if you've got 7 entries, the 7th entry is the top entry. With the panel accessible, you can change the value of A, B, C, etc. Change them to 1.2, 1.5, 10.5, etc. between 0 and 100, as well as beyond. If you don't want the effect, you can always remove it. You can delete it, but you can also disable it by the little checkbox that's in the live filter layer entry. You don't have to create a new live filter layer. You can duplicate a live filter layer. Simply select it in the layer panel and then go to the layer menu and select the command duplicate. And that will create another entry, exactly the same settings. You can now edit the settings. Go to the layer panel and double click the white box to bring up all the settings and change the blending mode as well as the settings, as well as maybe the equation itself. Go to the blending mode at the bottom of the panel and change it to lighten or darken, etc. Change the values. And you can go greater than 100. Mention it's, but you can't do it via that up-down box. You can just do it by entering the value. And again, you can still move the RX and RY. You can close it, just go up to the top and just close. And then go to the other one. So you change the name if you wish, but you can double click again on that just to bring up the, and then move it around. And again, change the blending mode for that as well. Maybe darken, difference, up to you. You can continue to change the first entry, which is the bottom entry. No point in changing the blending mode here. It will have no effect on the actual live filter layers. Obviously the ones that are below, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. You can change those blending modes, but change the top entry will make no difference. But you can change the settings, you can change the position of the RX and RY. I've only got 3 live filter layer effects. I could have 5 or 6 or 10. I could also add additional effects such as blurs and many others to create all kinds of amazing ring designs. You can also go to the layer menu and rasterize the whole thing so all the live filter layers are all compressed into a pixel layer. Once you've done that, what you can do, maybe create multiple pixel layers and then blend those to create all kinds of really amazing ring designs and much, much more. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Please subscribe to the Graphic Extras channel, always adding new tutorials about Affinity Photo, Krita, Clip Studio Paint, Photoshop and many others. Please add some comments or two, always appreciated. Also, a dislike or like. Thank you much.